Hey y'all, this is Young OP, also known as Osterizer. Y'all are known as my Florida fans, so thank you so much for tuning in to this next episode. And to give a warning, I will be talking about my experience with the mental hospital, like that kind of topic. And I know it can be triggering for some. It's not any more triggering for me because it's been a while. I feel like I have enough clarity to talk about it. I've had enough time to heal from it. And I just want to say, the resources for mental health before getting to the point where I can't say what, but you can assume game over, self-inflicted game over is what I will say. But I will say everything up until that point, especially in Washington, I think is the best. Like therapy, medicine wise. Like the resources are there, but when it gets to this point is where it gets sketchy, it gets like untrustworthy. That's why some are scared to even go, and I think you should be scared to go to that place because it's game over if you go through with it. But sorry if you hear purring. My cat is right next to me and she loves me in my room, mainly my room. She could give 2 F's if anyways. I just want to say, when you get up to that point, it's really hard, and I get why some of you will be scared because I was scared. And I will say, before getting into more context about where I went, I will not probably say where I went just due to legal things. Like, they could sue me if I do mention that, where I went. So I will not mention where I went, where I stayed. But if you know me in real life, obviously you do. Not saying you do know me in real life, obviously you know where I went. But anyways, I will say the place I went to didn't have the people I was scared of. There weren't, murderers. And that's a good thing, I will say, don't make friends. You can make friends. I didn't make any friends because I will get into more detail about why I didn't really talk that much. And that's probably why I got not anything out of it except a place to sleep, which is probably what I see as what I got out of it. And that's why it was hard, for me to recover and stuff. And I'll get into my first point. What you'll notice in this video is I'm talking about my experience with it. I'm not talking about every mental hospital there is. No, I'm talking about my experience with the one I went to, which I will not say where I went to due to legal things, but I will say I was almost scared to communicate with the other kids there, mainly because I'm not saying it's like every mental hospital where it works like this, but what I noticed, because I would say I'm very intelligent when it comes to social cues and social settings and anything social. And I will say, I felt like there was a total, hierarchy to this, mental hospital in ways I can't even, explain. I felt there were, these social, almost levels to, who went through the worst thing in the group. Because I think another point was you weren't allowed to talk about your problems. You were when you went to your private therapist and psychiatrist, but in group time, which is how it's set up, which is probably how every mental hospital is set up, you get group time, time in a group just to be social, and you weren't allowed to talk about your problems. And I think that's due to the rules. I forget what it's called, but I'll probably edit it into here. Which I get, but then again, you're in a mental hospital. I feel like that should be the baseline of what you'd be talking about. But I didn't really want to communicate because I knew there was at least, maybe if it wasn't, there wasn't. And I was just, I also was in a pretty dark space. And of course, I'm going to assume the worst. I could totally be wrong, but due to the environment, due to the circumstances I was in, it just felt like that way. I'm not saying if you go to it, but yeah. So they probably thought I was some murderer or serial killer or something worse than that I don't want to say on here because I'll get banned. But I will say it was hard to open up, and I told them at some point when I was getting discharged that, hey, it was about OCD, because that's why I wanted to game over in the first place, was because of my OCD and from Accutane, and that's another story for another day. But anyways, there will be a lot of things that I can't say or explain to you guys due to how dark and serious it is. But just to get a glimpse of what it was like, I came out almost the same, if not worse. But the only thing that really healed me was the time there and then when I got out. Because I will say this right now, I did cry getting out when I saw it. And that just shows how much I didn't. Well, I will say I went through a lot. I mean, we all wanted the same solution, which is why mental hospitals exist. Like, that's why I wasn't looking back on it. Like, I should have definitely opened up more just so they didn't think I was a murderer, or serial killer, or like I said, even something worse. But I will say I did cry when I got out, mainly because of the scenery, mainly because I didn't have my phone. And I will say that detox from my phone, oh my god, when I played Mortal Kombat, I felt every fucking injury because of how entertaining it was. But anyways, that's what I got out of it. That's mainly why I healed from it and didn't end up game overing. But this will be a way shorter video, mainly because I'm keeping all the serious stuff out of it. But I will say at the place I stayed at, which is why I'm not going to say it, the staff was horrible. Like, the reason you work in that department is to have sympathy. And a lot of staff there did not have sympathy whatsoever. I could get into the nitty gritty, but this is just to show how the late levels of the mental health is, not just in Washington, I'd say like throughout the whole world. And that's why I'm doing what I'm doing right now, like, because I want to help it, because it's very horrible of how it is right now, and I wish to be remembered as someone who laid another foot into getting better help. And anyways, I'm almost done, but one last thing before I go. The food. The food was fucking gas. I will say that. Where I stayed, if I were to say the name of where I stayed, I'd say it now, but the food was so fucking good. Like, oh my god, it was so good. Anyways, thank you so much for listening. It's the most you can do. You can also fetch me a comment or an email if it's more serious, but thank you so much for tuning in. My cat Nala says hi and bye at the same time, and so do I. And I hope to see you tune in for the next video. Anyways, peace out. Love all y'all. Take care. My Porta fans.